I want you to envision yourself on the perfect vacation, whether that be out in the sun with the sand in between your toes, or you in Aspen, Colorado, skiing down those ski slopes. Now, what if somebody told you that that perfect vacation of yours, you could do that every year for the rest of your life, guaranteed? Sounds a little bit too good to be true, right? Well, at least that's what these timeshare companies want you to think. But before you sign that dotted line, it may not be as beneficial as it seems. But don't worry, if you guys already signed on that dotted line, at the end of this video, I'll show you guys how you may possibly be able to get out of your contract. Hello everybody and welcome back to Resilience in Mind. It's your girl V, and today we're diving into the world of timeshare. You've probably heard about them through those fancy presentations promising you a luxury vacation at the fraction of the cost. But let's break down why this may not be the best deal for your hard-earned money. So first things first, we have to break down the definition of what is a timeshare. A timeshare essentially is a vacation property arrangement where multiple individuals, they share individual or usage rights to a specific property for an allotted period of time, which is often about a week. And they use the property annually. Every owner pays an upfront purchase price, and they will also pay ongoing maintenance fees. So timeshares, they're often marketed as something that's very cost effective and a way to secure regular vacations, but it does come with some limitations, such as the high cost and the high maintenance fees, and as well as the fact that when you pay for your week, that's your week forever. And if you don't want to use that week and you want to go a different time, you might face some hurdles trying to maneuver that. But that definition is more of your traditional timeshare. You get one property, 1 week or two, depending on how many weeks you pay for out of the year, and you'll go there once a year to go on vacation. But a lot of people kind of got bored with that. Think about it, going to the same place every year for the rest of your life for vacation, it's kind of boring. So instead of you investing into a single property, now these timeshare companies came out with a new tactic where they call it points. So I'm going to speak mainly about Club Wyndham because that's what I've had personal experience with. So I'm going to speak more on them because they're who I'm familiar with. So what they'll do now is they create this point system where you purchase points. So for example, let's say you purchase 200,000 points. Every year you're going to get 200,000 points. And the reason why this is beneficial versus owning a specific time period on one singular property is because what they're selling is you get to beat inflation. If it costs 15,000 points to go to the Bahamas today, 10 years from now, it's going to cost 15,000 points to go to Bahamas versus dealing with, oh, well, that hotel was $200 when I went there back then. And now the same 3 days that I'm going to today, it's going to cost me, $1,500 or whatever the price increase may be. So they market this as a way where you're beating inflation, you get the same amount of points every year, and you can go to different locations. So I believe Wyndham, they have over 200 resorts that you can choose from. I may be wrong, but they have quite a few resorts that you can go to, and you could pick whichever one that you want to go to at any period of time. So it's not your traditional standard timeshare. So now that we kind of understand what the timeshare is and how they kind of maneuvered into this new point system, let's talk about the cost and why this may or may not be beneficial to a lot of people. Now, mind you, some people get into the Wyndham timeshare points and they absolutely love it and have no complaints. And on the other hand, a lot of people don't have the same experience. Literally, if you just do a Google search, you will see tons and tons and tons of negative reviews and how people feel like they were manipulated into their contracts. Now, the average upfront cost of purchasing a timeshare is approximately $23,940. And a lot of times they do offer financing because most people do not have the $20,000 to put up front. And the reason why is because a lot of times they blindside you into these presentations. We'll get into that a little bit later. But your average financing interest rate is anywhere from 15.99% and up. And by the time you end up paying that off over a 10-year period, you've actually paid double of what your initial upfront cost is. So like I said, the average cost is $23,900. So let's just say $24,000. You're going to end up paying $48,000 by the end of your 10-year period. Now, mind you, the initial purchase price, it varies based upon certain factors such as location, the resort quality, and the size of the units, or how people are now shifting into the point system. It could based upon how many points that you purchase. So I've seen contracts as low as $10,000, and I've seen them as expensive as $100,000 plus. So in addition to this upfront cost of buying your timeshare, the biggest issue that a lot of owners are actually coming in contact with is the annual maintenance fees, which could be around $1,000 per year. But I've seen a lot that are, $4,000 to $8,000 a year, and some of them are even more than $10,000 a year. Now you break that down on a monthly basis, which if you're spending $10,000 per year, that's an extra $833.33 per month that you're taking out of your pocket on top of whatever you finance the initial purchase buy-in. So on top of your initial purchase price, your maintenance fees, you also have special assessment fees and incidental expenses, as well as paying for housekeeping, because sometimes those are not included. And of course, taxes. Now, even me explaining this, and probably you as a listener hearing all of these expenses, you're probably thinking, who would even agree to this? Like, this doesn't even sound like a good deal at the end of the day. But remember, the people who are presenting this stuff to you, they're salesmen and saleswomen. They know how to make a sell. And of course, they're not going to show you the nitty gritty and show you all of the downsides of it. They're going to glamorize it and, oh, well, you can travel anywhere you want to. Think about your kids. This can get passed down to them and their children's 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 children. So the predatory practices that they use, trust me, it works. I'm going to share with you guys real quick my personal experience of how I ended up signing that dotted line and getting a timeshare. Yep. I'm embarrassed even saying that I did it, but it happened and we make mistakes. And I'm very thankful, praise God, that I was able to get out of it. And so can you if you listen to the end of this video. I will literally walk you guys through exactly what I did to get out of my contract. It's pretty much tied into the story. So I went to SeaWorld to celebrate my daughter's second birthday. And while we were walking into the entrance of the park, there was a lady at the kiosk and she simply asked us like, hey, are you guys annual pass members? To which we replied, yes, we are. And she said, oh, perfect. We're just checking to see, for families that do they qualify for a gift? And we were like, okay, let's see what the gift is. Cause when you become an annual member for any of these theme parks, they tend to give you guys little bonuses, gifts, discounts. So I just assumed that that's what it was a part of. And she got her information. It popped up green. She was like, perfect. You guys qualify for a 7 nights, 8-day vacation at any resort of your choice. The only thing is that you have to attend a presentation. And I was like, oh, what is a presentation about? And she's like, oh, don't worry. It's just this new resort that we just opened up here in Orlando. So we just want you guys to come and visit and do a tour. And if you guys like it, maybe you guys will stay, or you guys can refer it to one of your friends. So I was like, oh, that's easy. Yeah, cool. Like, I live in Florida. I'll just drive back and do the presentation and go on my vacation. Sounds easy, right? But she never told us it was a timeshare. She never told us it was a timeshare presentation, because had she had told us, we would have done our research and we would have never signed based upon all of those negative reviews that we saw. We would have just stayed, got our 7 days, 8-day vacation, and went about our day. So that's one example of how their predatory practices are. They tend to offer you, oh, you're going to get a $200 Visa reward card, or you're going to go to this fancy dinner, or we're going to give you free tickets to a cruise to get you to come to this presentation. So fast forward a week later, we come back to Orlando and we go and we sit in for this presentation, to which this guy gives this whole presentation about going on vacation and how 10 years ago vacation used to cost this much, and if you're used to spending $5,000 a year on vacation, in 5 years from now it could double or triple or quadruple in price. And being in 2024 at the time, we've seen inflation go up. We know what it feels like when $100 you used to be able to buy this, and now with that same $100, you can't even buy half of what you used to buy with it. So they kind of appeal to you in an emotional way, and they present it as if you are beating inflation. You're saving money, you're beating inflation, and you're doing something that's good for the family, because it's good to go on vacation, good to relax, good to have some me time, right? And when they first started talking, me and my husband kind of looked at each other and gave each other that look of like, we ain't spending no money here. But, after a 90-minute, what was supposed to be a 90-minute presentation ended up being us there for 3-4 hours of this guy just, pleading to us emotionally. And mind you, I just had a baby. My baby was probably like not even 2 months yet. I had my 2-year-old with me, so I'm kind of all over the place, not really thinking much. And when you have 2 kids, you're like, oh yes, I do need a vacation. I need a break. Like, give me some sun and let me hold the margarita in my hand or whatever, right? So at this point, me and my husband were like, you know what? This doesn't sound too bad. They offered us 200,000 points. I'm actually going to put the contract up on the screen for you guys, just so you guys can see it with your own eyes. They offered us 200,000 points. That was going to start January 1st of 2025. And it's going to renew annually, where you get 200,000 points each year. So those 200,000 points would have cost us $30,700. With a down payment of $4,657 and 35 cents to be exact. And with financing, it would cost us $444.68. Now, we didn't have a problem financing it, even though we knew it was at a 16% interest rate, because we knew that within the year we would have paid it off, because we really don't like payment plans. If we're gonna buy anything, we like to buy in cash, unless it's like a house. But anything, I'm talking cars, cell phones, whatever it is, we like to pay cash with. We tend to be very good financially, except for this decision. But like I said, we got out of it, so no judgment. We listen, we don't judge, okay? So it would have been $444.68 per month. And then you would have a monthly maintenance fee of $144.83, which I was like, okay, that's not bad. $144.83. I was like, you know what? After we pay everything off, that's only $1,700 per year. Like, I spend more than that on a weekend trip, with my family when we go down to Miami. So at the time when we ended up signing the contract, the way we justified it was, it's a one-time payment. Yes, it's kind of hefty, but if anything happens to me or my husband, those points are then transferable to our children, and then it can get passed down to their children, and all they have to worry about is a maintenance fee. So to us, it seemed good financially, until on our way back home from Orlando, I'm in the car and I'm just typing in Wyndham, Club Wyndham, rewards, or whatever they call their timeshare. And the amount of bad reviews that I saw, I felt my heart sink down to the bottom of my stomach, because I literally, in my head, I was like, oh my goodness, what did we just get ourselves into? Because every single person, there was like, I want to say, like, out of thousands of bad reviews, I probably went and saw maybe 3 or 4 positive reviews. And these were people who were grandfathered in. So that means their parents had it and they ended up getting it. So to them, it seemed like a pretty good deal. And what made me feel even worse was the fact that you can literally go on eBay and people are literally trying to get rid of their timeshare contracts for like $1, a cent. Like, I think the most expensive I've seen somebody trying to sell theirs was for maybe like $4,000. But most people, they just wanted to get out of their contract. They were over the maintenance fees. So, like I said earlier, you have that initial buy-in, but what was killing a lot of people was those high maintenance fees. On my paper, it says $144.83, but a lot of people had higher maintenance fees where it was like $2,000 a month, or, $1,800 a month, $700 a month. That's a lot of money to add to somebody's pocket when they were initially expecting to pay maybe a few $100s per month. Now, mind you, a lot of people didn't have the same plan me and my husband had. We knew within the year we were going to pay off the remaining balance, right? But that's not the reality for a lot of people. Most people would just do the monthly payments for 10 years as stated in their agreement. So up here, I have a picture from our contract that has the Truth in Lending Act disclosure statement. So as you guys can see up on the left hand corner, it discloses the interest rate, which is 15.99 for a total payments of 120 payments for the amount of $444.68 beginning 1/28/2025, right? The financed amount is going to be that $26,969 because we had put down a $4,657.35 down payment. But notice how at the end, with all the payments, it's going to come out to a whopping $53,361.60, making the total sale price $58,000.18 and $18.95. I'm sorry. So let me repeat that one more time. The whopping total sales price, $58,018.95. I know I'm like speaking over myself, but it's literally on the screen. You guys can look at it. This literally came out of my contract. Of course, I blocked out the contract number and then the DocuSign envelope number that's up there just to protect myself. But this came out of my contract. So back to the story. Once I saw all of those negative reviews of people basically saying it's not worth it, the biggest complaints that I was reading was the fact that there wasn't a lot of flexibility. Even though we have the ability to book out our vacation 13 months in advance, you still couldn't find places to where you wanted to go. And even if you ended up going somewhere that's like a hotspot, you weren't really like where the hotspots were. You were kind of like a little bit in the outskirts, like in the middle of nowhere. So I was like, you know what? Absolutely not. I made the worst decision of my life. You never, ever, ever, ever sign a contract without doing your due diligence and doing some research. Till this day, I don't know how I allowed myself to go on with this contract, because usually me and my husband, we tend to be very frugal, and before we do anything, we want to make sure that we're getting the best deal possible. So I think what really made us sign was because when I had told the salesman, I said, hey, I don't feel comfortable signing this right now. I would really love to go home, do some research, and look up timeshare companies and see which one's best for me. I explained to him that I was not prepared for this. I had no idea that I was even coming to a timeshares pitch, that I was told we were just taking a tour of a new property that was just built. And as an incentive for coming, we were just going to get this resort package, right? But then red flag number 2. Well, there was red flags everywhere, but this was like the biggest red flag for us was, now that I'm looking back at it, when I told him that, he said, well, the price that I'm giving you now for the same amount of points, if you come back, it's going to cost you $95,000. Simply because, this is your first time coming. So we offer special prices for first time presenters. And if you decide to come back, I can't guarantee you that I'll give you this price again, because then I'll be breaking antitrust laws. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if somebody ever offers you a contract for anything and they tell you that you have to sign today and you can't go home and do your due diligence and look it up, trust me, that contract is going to come back to bite you in your rear end. Because if that contract was so good, if the product that they were selling you was so good, trust me, you can go back and shop with whoever. You're going to come back to us because we're the best. That in itself showed me that they knew that if I went home and I had got on my computer and I had just typed in, the timeshare or whatever, and just looked at some of the reviews, I wouldn't have came back. I would have said, you know what, forget it. So as I'm scrolling through the internet, I'm like, how can I get out of this contract? That's my goal. I need to be able to get out of my contract. So, deep into the contract, way in the middle, there is a portion of it where it talks about the right of cancellation. And it literally says that we have 10 calendar days after the date that you signed the contract or the date of which you received the last of all document requires to be given to the pursuant for according to Florida statutes, whichever is later, that you must notify the seller in writing your intent to cancel. And then it gives us the exact company, the address to send it to, etc. So that's exactly what we did. So if you guys can look up on your screen, I will share with you guys the exact words that I used to cancel my timeshare. And I will literally copy and paste this and put it down in the description, so that way you guys can copy and paste it. And all you have to do is just add your personal information in there. Okay, you guys? So I'm going to pull it up right now and put it up on the screen for you guys. So for your headers, right, you're going to put your first and last name of everybody who signed the contract. When we went to the timeshare, they emphasized that if you're married, you need to come with your spouse. That way both spouses can sign. And I think it's kind of like dark in a way, because if something ever happened, like let's say if one person signed it, like, oh, this is a gift for my wife or whatever. If somebody passes or if somebody gets sick, then the responsibility is on the other person because you both signed it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me who thinks it's a little dark that they did that, but they're trying to get their money, man. So on the top, you're going to put your first and last name of everybody who is on the contract. You're going to put your address, your email, your phone number, and the date that you are writing the letter. Now, I left the Wyndham Vacation Resorts information here with their address just to serve as an example. So I have the Wyndham Vacation Resorts and then attention rescissions department, and I have that in bold. And then I have their address, and then the subject I put request for timeshare cancellation. And then I put dear rescissions team, I am writing to formally request that the cancellation of my timeshare contract. In brackets here, you're going to put your contract number, okay? And then the date, you're going to put the date that you signed the contract, not the date that you are writing, but the date that you signed the contract. And then I put that this letter serves as my official notice of cancellation. I purchased a timeshare on 12/14/2024, and after further consideration, I have decided to exercise my right to rescind the agreement. Please note that this request is being made within the legally allotted cancellation period of 10 calendar days as stipulated in the contract or governing laws. I kindly request this written confirmation that the contract has been placed and no further payments or obligations are required on my part. Please also provide details about the return of any deposits or fees I have already paid. Please direct all correspondence regarding this matter to my address or email provided above. I would appreciate a prompt response to ensure the timely resolution of this issue. Thank you for your immediate attention to this matter. Should you require any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, I put both me and my husband's name, so you'll put you and whoever else signed the contract, and you will physically sign the contract. So not only are you going to type out your name, but you are going to physically sign it. You want to have a wet signature on there as well. Also, in addition to making sure you have a wet signature, make sure that when you send the documents that you have it, that they have to physically sign it to state that they received it. Because a lot of times they could, lie and say, oh, we never got it, because they want you to be in that contract. So make sure that you have it, that when the sender, when the receiving party is to receive it, that they have to give a physical signature. That means if somehow it got lost, somebody is being held accountable. No, it was signed by Rebecca Toussaint. I don't know, I'm just making a name, but Rebecca, you signed it, so somebody has to be responsible for it at the end of the day. So in addition to making sure that when you send it, you have the receiver sign off that yes, they got the package, you also want to make sure that you actually read your contract and you know how many days you have until you're able to cancel your contract. I'm saying 10 days because that's what was written in my contract. Your contract may be 15 days, 30 days, or even 7 days, 5 days. Make sure you do your due diligence and you read it so that way there's no room for error, okay? We already made the mistake of signing the contract. Let's not make any more mistakes, okay? So, wet signature, have them sign it, and we are going to make sure that we know how many days we have so that way we can send out that written letter that says, hey, this is my intent to cancel my contract. Now, also, you don't have to worry about overnighting it to make sure that it gets to them before, your 10-day period or your 5-day, 3-day, 20-day period, okay? The posted date that is on the letter, it's going to show that the letter was sent off. For example, I had signed my contract on the 14th. I had 10 days, which would be the 24th of December, to cancel my contract. If I had sent that letter out on the 24th of December, that postage stamp on there would be for the 24th of December. And even if they got it on the 3rd of January 2025, I'm still entitled to my cancellation due to the fact that I sent the letter and that the postage stamp shows that I sent it out within that 10-day period. So you don't have to worry about, oh my goodness, I'm on my 9th day. Oh my goodness, like I have one more day left. I need to overnight it and spend, $30-$40 just to do overnight air. That's not necessary. All you have to do is send it within that time, and whatever's on the postage stamp is what is the date that they're going to go by, not the date that they receive it, because things happen, you guys. You could send a package off. They tell you it's going to take 2 days to get to its location, and something happens along the way and it takes an extra week to get to them. So give yourself some grace here and try to send it off as early as possible. Don't wait till the last minute, because at the end of the day, they want your money. They want you to stay with this contract. So now here on the screen, if you guys look, this is the letter that they wrote me. I got this on, they They wrote it to me on December 30th of 2024, but I believe I got it sometime in 2025. But they said, dear, I'm not going to say my name. We have completed your request to rescind the above referenced contract. We regret that you have denied to purchase at this time. Any payments may have been refunded in the same manner they were paid. If you have any questions, please contact us. And they just left their contact information and when they're available. Sincerely, Wyndham Vacation Resorts. And this came from them. It has their letterhead. It has their P.O. box. I just blacked out my personal information because y'all don't need to know who I am. But yeah, so yeah, it works, you guys. I'm showing you guys all of this, my personal experience, what I wrote, exactly what I wrote, and this is the response that I got. So all of that is there to show that yes, there is hope, you can get out of your contract. And if unfortunately you're one of those people where you don't fall into that time period, try and get with a secondary timeshare vendor, like people who actually broker the reselling of timeshares. They will do their best to try to get you out of your contract, so that way it's less of a financial blow to you. I know that with Wyndham, they do have something called graceful exit. I have not heard any good experiences about it. It's kind of hard to do. I know they kind of sell that to you where like, hey, if something happens or there's any financial trouble, there's a thing we call, a graceful exit. I have not heard too many good things about it, but there's that option as well. I would try and look into that, get in contact with somebody about that, because if you're struggling financially and you can't keep up with the payments, even if you have to file foreclosure on it, because it's a property that you essentially, got, so they can technically foreclose on it. If that's what you have to do to get yourself together, it's okay to fall down sometimes and build yourself back up. It happens in life. I'm praying for you guys and wishing the best. And those of you guys who are considering a timeshare, my honest opinion, I wouldn't do it. It's not worth it. The amount of money, like imagine me in 10 years spending $60,000 just to spend some points to vacation a couple times out of the year. It's not worth it. You can go on Priceline, you can go on Expedia, Kayak, and stay at a 4-star, 5-star hotel for $150 a night or even less than that. Like they have really good deals where you could stay at some really nice hotels for cheap, almost 40% off of what's on the actual website. Also, when I was looking online, the Wyndham properties, they really didn't look that nice. I would rather stay in a hotel where there's some sort of an aesthetic than staying somewhere where it looks like I'm visiting my grandmother's apartment. Like the tour that they gave us where they showed us the property and how nice it looked, it looked nice. And I was like, okay, I could do this. This is cute. But seeing people post pictures of their, condos that they're staying at through Wyndham, it really wasn't that nice. Like I could just do an Airbnb if that's the case, and most of the Airbnbs look better, if I'm just being honest. So I know this is a long video. It's already 33 going on 34 minutes. So I'm gonna cut this video short right here. It's not short, but I'm gonna cut it right here. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really want to hear your experiences down below. Leave a comment. Please subscribe, share this video with your family and friends just to kind of warn them of timeshares. You may think, oh, they'll never get I never thought I would get a pitch to go and be a part of a timeshare. Okay, so it literally could happen to anybody. It sounds like a good idea, but it's really not. If you get invited to one of those timeshare pitches, go and get your free dinner, go and get your free 7-day vacation, but do not sign. You literally can get up and go. And then don't feel bad for getting up. Oh, I feel bad. They spent all this time talking to me. No, get up and go. Okay. Alrighty, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Resilience in Mind. It's your girl V, and it was such a pleasure talking to you guys. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.